The inspiration for using VR as a training tool, we always have desired to train people through experience.
The winners of tomorrow, when it comes to competency and safety, are the ones that are embracing new forms of technology today.
It's been said that there's nothing as powerful as an idea that its time has come.
Welcome to the LITES podcast. It's leadership in industrial technology, education, and safety. My name is Gonzales, and today we're speaking with Jim Dorris, VP of Health, Safety, Environment, and Sustainability at United Rentals, Jim Colvin, CEO of Sirius Labs Incorporated, and Zack Parnell, CEO of Industrial Training International. These three characters are redefining what training and assessments in heavy industry looks like, and we're going to find out how. Thanks for tuning in.
So at ConExpo in 2017, we launched with 2 crane models simulated with over, I think it's 300 scenarios plus for each. So we have a Tadano GR1000XL. It's a rough terrain crane, 100-ton crane, and a Linkbelt 218 crawler. It's a lattice boom crawler, 110-ton crawler.
This is CEO Zack Parnell describing the ITI VR Crane Simulator.
We decided on the crane models from the LITES group. I mean, really, after the LITES meeting, we had we organized actually smaller groups. We call tags. I hate all these acronyms. Sorry about that. But tag is a technical advisory group. So we had about 10 people advising our development from September of 2016 to March of 2017. So those people, and they were from organizations like Kiewit, Mammut, Bechtel, Barnhart, NCSG, Valero, Phillips 66, and even the IUOE. So those folks were helping us understand what are the right crane models to build, and then also helping inform the scenarios we had to build. What's nice is obviously crane training happens every day around the world. But what's fun is in VR and in simulation, the sky's the limit to what we can create for challenges, and helping our tag group understand what's actually possible was a fun challenge. But once they realized what we could build, and that basically we had a magic wand, a lot of creative ideas came up for how to develop skills quickly. And that's really the name of the game. We're trying to create skills and competency much faster than is happening currently through just sitting a person on a single crane out in a yard. I tell people I learned to run a mobile crane from my dad. Basically put me on the crane. He put a chain sling on the hook with a big shackle attached to the chain sling, and had me draw my name on the gravel. I'm limited. It's a great experience. But compared to simulation, I was limited to essentially one crane model and one scenario that I could do for 5 hours, and in simulation, someone can be in a tower crane 1 minute, obviously, and a boom truck and carry deck the next, as well as hundreds of scenarios and challenges per crane model.
Jim Dorris of United Rentals recalls early conversations about the project.
Zack Parnell, who's the CEO of ITI, is a very progressive thinker, and immediately connected how VR could be applied and really change the process and the outcomes of crane-related training. And from there, it's kind of history because ITI moved very quickly to outline what they wanted to accomplish with VR in the space of crane training, and developed a commercial product, and they're in the process of developing more categories of cranes within that commercial product.
Next, we spoke with Jim Colvin of Sirius Labs, the hardware and software developers of the simulators themselves.
Sirius Labs is a technology company that's focused on leading edge technologies for heavy industrial training. The company itself has been around in one form or another for 12 years, but Sirius Labs emerged really probably about 6 years ago as a company that was really focused on delivering the best quality training to a new generation of the heavy industrial worker using the most advanced modalities including virtual reality, gamification, augmented reality, and other online training as a way to train a new generation of blue-collar workers.
These advancements could not be coming at a better time. As Jim Dorris explains, there's a growing need for skilled labor.
If you look at the macro force right now, the labor shortage in the craft skilled and construction trades, and that's only getting bigger. So I think that we can definitely contribute to helping solve some of those issues. You know, if you talk to the customer, yes, equipment is important. But what's really important and a constraint to them is the access to qualified labor.
Zack Parnell explains how simulators can be used in both the training and hiring process.
Someone can sign up to take a 30-minute CCO practical exam. Someone can sign up to do an hour-long CCO practical exam, and they're coming in for a exam where they meet the examiner and go through the tasks in order to complete the exam. Can do a obviously very similar thing in simulation, and simulation currently doesn't accomplish certification exams, but similarly, we can do a candidate screening exam. We can do a qualification type exam where we're assessing deeper and broader skills. And then training mode we have a lot more voiceover, a lot more tutorialization of the content, and even different helpers like showing the operator where the hook is on the ground and with crosshairs, as well as where the boom tip is. And there's definitely some differerences where we're trying to build skills versus do a assessment in real time. This really gets into what we call lean training as well. We recommend to all of our customers that you go through a very simple, every training initiative you do should have 3 steps. A pre-exam is if a person can prove they are competent in the subject you're going to sit them down for the next 4 or 40 hours, let them pre-exam and test out potentially. Not every subject allows for that, but a pre-examination is a best practice in almost every training domain. And then, the actual training that's needed should be intended to be personalized and filling in the gaps. That's where simulation is really key. If someone takes a pre-assessment and they really can run a crane well, but they don't know hand signals, let them go beef up on the hand signals portion only so the machine personalizes the learning to them, and then let them take the post-exam or the qualification exam at the end and achieve their level of competency or qualification, whatever the output of the exam is. So yeah, simulation is very good at both. I would say that we are very interested in achieving certification by simulation. That is, we feel like we can challenge operators actually with a more challenging and broader skills and assessing broader skills in a simulator. Very easy example, it's very difficult to set up really big cranes and really costly. So, doing an exam with a luffing jib on a 300-ton crane, that costs a lot of money in the real world, but we can do it on a simulator. So we are talking to certification bodies about the potential for doing this, and this is not just happening in cranes. This is happening with the aero work platform groups like IPAF. It's been happening in aerospace for decades, right? So with simulation. So in general, I would say the construction industry is a bit behind the aerospace industry, obviously, in this space, and we're actually able to get there now with. It's funny, I tell people that we're sort of training folks today in the crafts with technology that's better than what we trained astronauts with 10 years ago just regarding simulation, which is pretty exciting to bring that sort of technology for a mobile crane operator role that was essentially relegated to astronauts and fighter pilots.
Jim Colvin goes on to explain that even the potential of these technologies is still coming to light for many people.
Most people are still really focused on the hardware and or the social and gaming side of it, entertainment. They haven't really seen practical applications for the possibilities of what virtual reality brings. This kind of heavy industrial training, where you're putting people in consequence-free, dangerous environments, is dead center. Anything that's instructional, anything where you have to learn, you have to bring people together in a common place, in an unusual environment that would never be able to be replicated in the real world, and then exchange knowledge, ideas, information. Virtual reality is just ideal for it. And when we merge our streams and we can have multiple pieces of equipment all in one environment with all of the learners located in the different parts of the world, all operating in tandem with their instructors right there, identifying what they're seeing, taking them through their curriculum. That's just something that it's almost impossible to replicate in the real world, other than with incredible expense, just getting all those people to the same place, reproducing the environment that's, still safe but appears to be dangerous. We don't even know how that could even occur.
Jim Dorris talks about how quickly these technologies are now evolving.
VR has been around for 20 years, and it's been said that there's nothing as powerful as an idea that its time has come, and I think that's where we are with VR, is where now you have almost this parabolic growth in the technology, that's following Moore's law very closely and developing quickly, and you have a lot of people that have interest from a lot of different areas, from entertainment to people like us. How do you apply this in an industrial setting? So just a lot of interest and investment in VR. But with that, there some areas are in its infancy, like with in the industrial sector would be a good example. And you also have certain segments of the working population that still have a preference to that human interaction, and that that sitting in a classroom, the interaction, going out, actually putting their hands on a piece of equipment or putting their hands on a tool to be able to fully reinforce. That's just their learning preference. I think that that's evolving as they have the opportunity to experience these new technologies like VR and AR, and as some of the kinks get worked out of it. Also think there's a tremendous opportunity for collaboration via VR, where you can create a classroom environment, and with the with rapid development of mobile VR, you could drop thousands of people into a classroom, and I think that'll help to kind of shape shift a lot of the preferences, especially towards the portion of the population that really preferred instructor-led. So it doesn't do it all, but I think as we continue to progress, there will be a day where that is absolutely hands down the preferred way to learn and teach and transfer knowledge to others.
Zack Parnell on first-time VR experiences.
Well, I think in general, it's just fun to see people get on in VR for the first time. That's actually, we've been such at the, we're so blessed to be at the bleeding edge of this. We were in the right place at the right time, looking at the technology, and launched a construction operator simulator product when 99% of people have never even tried the base technology of VR. So it's so fun to see people that are used to getting in a real crane every day and never have touched a VR headset be able to go experience their profession in VR. And it's sort of their first experience. A lot of people are going to get their first experience shooting zombies or running from T-Rex or something. And to be able to show folks, I believe the people that try it from our space are going to realize, wow, this is useful. Actually, it's not just a game. And because most of the world probably still thinks VR is just for gaming and consumer type applications.
The winners of tomorrow, when it comes to competency and safety, are the ones that are embracing new forms of technology today. And the technology and the training and the industry itself has to be working in concert. Those are not separate things. That's like a Venn diagram. Success sits right in the middle of that. Whereas, and what I mean by that is, a training company like ITI couldn't exist without a technology partner like Serious Labs. It would be like Serious Labs trying to figure out everything that ITI knows and competing against it in the training arena. Same as United Rentals or the industrial partner has its role to play, but it is contingent and ultimately dependent upon the other two legs of the stool. So you need the industry adoption through its natural channels outwards, which is where the big players come in. You need the person that's managing that curriculum that understands it, even if it's 20th century training. They understand, what information needs to be imparted. And then you need the technology partner right there to say, here's a different modality to deliver that information the way that it's best served to deliver and absorb and retain that information for that learner. And I think, if I could be so bold, I think the relationship that we've developed with ITI and United Rentals delivers on that promise. And so that would be the only thing I'd say, is that a technology team, a VR company operating in a vacuum could never achieve results that we're achieving. We're completely dependent upon our partners on the training and our partners in industry itself with the touch point to the customer to get the adoption of the heavy industrial players. That's critical for success.
Finally, I asked Jim Dorris of United Rentals how companies considering the leap into VR development should proceed.
Yeah, the advice that I would have, and this came from a lot of skint knees in helping to pioneer this, or at least in our small area of the world, would be just be very clear on what you want to accomplish with the technology, because a lot of times we get so wrapped up and romantic about the idea of the technology that as we're in the course of development, it's not really directed to solving a particular problem. So being very clear on what you want to be able to accomplish by using that technology over another method of training, or if that's the purpose you're using it for. A great example would be, why would you, United Rentals has hundreds of thousands of aerial lifts across over 1,000 locations in North America. So why would I invest in VR when I could send a learner to any one of those 1,000 locations close to them to actually get on a piece of equipment? And the answer to that is there are things that we could allow the learner to experience that we could never do on the physical piece of equipment. I can't send somebody up 60 feet in the air and let them experience a wind shear that could potentially knock over the piece of equipment. I couldn't, in good conscience, allow them to raise a piece of equipment under an electrical line, or do these high consequence things that really reinforce the behaviors that we're trying to teach, or we really need them to learn. So that was kind of our purpose for looking at VR. So you really have to get centered on what it is that you're trying to accomplish with the technology, whatever it is.
That's all we've got for this episode of Lights. It's leadership in industrial technology, education, and safety. See more at lites.org. My name is Pinky Gonzales. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with a friend or a colleague. We appreciate the support, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.